Winter always feels longest right before it begins to loosen its grip. I've been looking forward to spring, not just the garden, but the feeling of it. The light staying a little longer, the sound of birds in the morning, the trees blooming, and everything being green again. Today I'm adding something small to the house, a little window feeder, another way to stay connected to what's happening outside, even when the weather keeps me in. This is my current breakfast obsession. Yes, it's oatmeal. I love oatmeal and I have phases where I eat it every day and then I'll go a while without eating it, but I'm currently back on. I mix in ground chia seeds and flax seeds for the fiber and the deep nourishment, and then just a tiny bit of brown sugar and a lot of cinnamon. And then a surprising addition is frozen strawberries. The strawberry flavor with the cinnamon is so good. And that's really the part that I'm obsessed with is the strawberries with the cinnamon in the oatmeal. They say it can take weeks for birds to find a new bird feeder. So while I'm sitting and watching, I am not confident that I'm going to see any birds today, but one can only hope.
Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Diana. I make seasonal living content with a witchy twist. Today is a super stormy and gloomy Saturday, and I had some plans to do some gardening, but overall I wanted to have a cozy analog day being off of my phone. And something I've been wanting to try for a really long time is watercolor. I would not consider myself an artist. I think I am a creator and a crafter, but I think that's different from being an artist. I come from a long line of crafty people who are very ingenuitive and could make anything out of anything. And I think I definitely inherited that, but I don't think that I would consider my family artistic. Autistic, maybe. Artistic, probably not. So I've always kind of shied away from artistic pursuits like painting. I took a ceramics class in high school and I think I was horrible at it. So I did not pursue it. And so after that, the creative things that I did in school were more music related. Like I took piano for a couple years, I sang in the choir, and I took a photography class in college, and my professor let me know in no uncertain terms that I did not have an eye for photography. I was not good at it. So that only lasted a semester. I enjoyed doing it, but I wasn't good at it. And back then, I was heavily ruled by perfectionism. And if I wasn't immediately good at something, then I didn't want to do it anymore. And I've grown out of that over the last 20 years, where if I'm not good at something immediately, then I do keep trying because it's rewarding. I've learned that the reward is oftentimes in the process and not being perfect the first time. So, with that all being said, I want to give watercolor a try. I have literally never done it, so I'm doing it literally for the first time. And to start me off, well, first of all, I've watched a ton of videos, and it's funny that I'm filming this on the day that I watched Rachel Maxey's most recent video about trying gouache for the first time. And I very much relate to her mindset that of crafter's audacity, that because I have been good at a lot of crafty things that I've done over the years, that I think I could be good at anything if I just try hard enough. So she says that in her most recent video where she tries gouache. And I appreciate that she shows the full process, and maybe it doesn't go perfect the first time, but it's okay because you keep trying at it and keep working at it. So watch a ton of videos on watercolor. So I feel like I have a grasp of the concept. And because I have no supplies for it, I got this kit from Michael's that has like, it's kind of a starter kit that comes with some tubes of watercolor, the trays. It has the brushes and some watercolor crayons, which that's something I have not watched any videos about. And it has a workbook that has flower illustrations like tracing, and it tells you what colors to use and kind of how to do it. And this is probably not, I mean, I'm very confident it's not the top tier quality watercolor supplies, but I feel like it was a good first step into it to see if I even like it. And obviously, the good thing about Michael's is they have tons of coupons. So this was $29.99, but between coupons and my rewards, I got it for like $17. So also a good, very low level entry into this medium. So I have already opened it technically because I wanted to flip through the book first. So this is the workbook, and it has all the different illustrations with like the reference photo and then the tracing. And it also comes with a few sheets of plain paper. So I thought maybe I might play around on the plain paper first to really get a feel for how to do it before the first time I put a paintbrush to the paper to be in the tracing. But then I would like to do at least one of these pictures, and they're all so gorgeous that I kind of want to do all of them because they're all different types of flowers. And with it being such a gloomy late winter day, I thought it'd be so fun to do all of these and just dream of spring flowers. But I think my first one is going to be the daffodils, because those are actually in flower right now, and it seems pretty like there's fewer petals, because the hydrangea is the first one in the booklet, and there's a ton of flowers. Like there's a lot of little pieces, whereas these are bigger. Same thing with I think this is a peony. It also seems more complicated. But then I would really like to do the orchid because I'm in my orchid era now. And the cosmos also seem fairly simple. Oh, and the tulip. So, okay, I think my first one's going to be the daffodil when I'm ready to actually move to the workbook. And then I think I might do the tulip after that. And it has orange tulips, but because I'm going to do the yellow daffodil, I might do a different color tulip. So, because it does come with quite a few colors, the kit. And I've watched a lot of videos on color values and how to mix different colors to get other colors. So even if I don't have an exact color, then I feel like I could mix it. So we'll see. But yeah, so I got my 2 little cups of water here, one for clean water, one for rinsing. I need to get paper towels though. So let me get that and get started. Okay, I've done a little color theory and a little experimenting. So I think now I'm ready to do the workbook, I think. So far, what I've noticed is that the little tray of the blocks is really hard to scoop up the paint and like really get a lot of paint on. And then the little tubes, I keep thinking it's like acrylic where a little will go a long way, but then it doesn't. Like I kept having to get more yellow. So, because I was trying to decide which, if I was going to try to use the tray or the tubes, and I'm very torn because I have more color options with the tray. Like I'd have to do more mixing and experimenting with the tubes, but it's so hard to get enough paint. Like I just want to like chip off, like scoop out like a big part and like mix it up with water, because just using my paintbrush to like really get in is like really hard. So I think I'm going to rinse my tray out again, and then I think I'll use this because in the book it says what colors you need, and I think they're colors from the tray.
I painted for over an hour. It was really fun. It was quite the learning curve, learning experience. So, first one is the daffodils. And I thought this was going to be the easiest one. And I think it was actually the hardest one because I had trouble getting the colors right. It gives you kind of a guideline for how to get the colors, but I've had a really hard time, I feel, getting the colors, like, because this was like more of an orange. It seemed more orangey, but I just couldn't get the right amount of orange, and I got it more brown, so it looks kind of muddy. But then also, so when I first finished this one, and I thought, oh, I hate this. But now flipping back to it, I don't hate it as much. And not comparing it to the reference photo, if I just look at it, I don't hate it. So, but it was a learning curve. One of the things that I read or that I watched in a lot of videos was about how to manipulate value of a color in watercolor. So in like acrylic, if you have red and you want it to be pink, you mix white with it. But in watercolor, you just mix more water to make it lighter. And I feel like I should have done that more with this one. The yellow, I should have, like, I started in the light yellow and then I tried to build up, but I mixed in brown and red, trying to get the right color. And I think if I had just kept with the yellow, then it would have turned out better. And then I did okay with the stem. I mean, it's green. But I think I tried too hard to be like the reference picture, and it did not turn out as I would have wanted it to.
So then with the tulips, I think I did a much better job with the tulips. I did try to, so this one, it has yellow, brown, green. It, I don't know if it's supposed to be, I guess it's supposed to be red and darker brown or black maybe, or dark gray. I don't know. But I started with the stems because I had already been working on green. So I just went straight from stems of the daffodil to stems of the tulips. And I think I did better with the stems in this one. And then the yellow, I did the yellow first. And I think I did better with the grading of the value of this like orangey red than I did on the daffodils. So I don't love the yellow. I almost wish I had done a totally different color like purple tulips or pink, but I just decided to just stick to the colors that were in the reference picture. And overall, I think I did better. I don't like the yellow, so I wish I had just made it like a lighter orange, but I think I did learn in this step. And then for the orchid, in the reference picture, this almost looks purple, but in the colors that it tells you to use, it's yellow, pink, green, brown, and black. And I decided to just stick with the pink only and just keep reducing the water to create the gradient as it goes out. And I kind of just accepted at this point that like the edges of this orchid, they say to use pink and just gradually reduce the amount of water. But this is never going to be this. So I did a couple times add like a teensy bit of purple, just the tiniest bit. Because like this dark shadow here is never going to be, like it's never going to come from this pink. So mine is a lot lighter. And I did, so in these like here, I did do a little bit of shading, which in the videos that I watched, you don't get shading in watercolor by just adding gray or black. You add the opposite color on the color wheel, which is why I did a couple color wheels, because if you have pink and you need to add a shade to it, you're supposed to add green to make it like a complementary shade. So I did that in like some of these darker areas, but it's clearly not as dark as the reference picture. But I am very happy with the grading here, like going from the dark edge down to the lighter center. It's not perfect, but I think I did better. So all in all, I think this was really fun. Will I keep doing it? Maybe. I might try other forms of watercolor. So for example, in my practicing, I did the little landscape, like mountain sunset landscape, and I think I did okay. I watched a few of these videos where you do like, you add the most amount of water and then you have less water and then less water to make it darker and darker. I thought that was kind of fun. It's a quick, like pretty instant gratification. But the one thing I did notice, and something in the videos, a lot of the videos that I've watched, is that paper makes a huge difference in how your paintings turn out and just your overall experience. And I could definitely see that with this. So I could tell, because in this type of painting, when the videos that I've watched about them, you're supposed to wet the entire thing. And so you do wet on wet for everything. But the paper started to pill and it's actually like wrinkled. And you would not imagine that watercolor paper would get damaged by water. So there's like pilling in the paper. So if I continue to do this more often or like turn it into a serious hobby, then I would invest in better paper. But my overall review of the kit is that it's a good starter. I think earlier I mentioned that I had trouble getting the little thing to get wet enough, but I noticed once it sat there long enough with water on it, then it was easier to mix and get colors out of it. So if you are looking for a starting off point for watercolor, I do think this kit is a good starting off point, and it has the workbook. Now I will say that in the orchid one specifically, it mentions the technique of using a less concentrated version of the pink and then increasing the concentration like as you get farther out. But in some of the other ones, like in the daffodil one, I noticed that it referenced using a lifting technique to take color away to add the highlights. And that's not what I've seen in videos that I've watched about it. Like, you should, at least in the videos I've watched, you're supposed to start with a lighter color and then gradually work up, not try to take color away, especially on this type of paper where adding extra water was making the paper wrinkle and pill. But this was a really fun analog activity. Let me know in the comments if you have ever done watercolor or any other type of painting, if you enjoy it, and if it's something that you pick up when you're trying to not scroll on the internet. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.